My name is Dr. Onisua. I welcome you all to this morning's lunch. Before we start, I'd invite Dr. Samadu.
Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful unto you for the grace to be here this morning at this lunch. We thank you for the lives of invited dignitaries and resource persons who are here to grace this occasion. We pray and ask that your Spirit will take over this program and guide us through successfully. This we ask through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samadu. Now we'll move on to the person to help us navigate this program. He is the current chair of the Fisheries Commission Board, the head of department for the Marine and Fisheries Science Department at the University of Ghana, a fisheries scientist and coastal management expert, both locally and internationally. He has a great passion for aquaculture and is married with 4 children. And the icing on the cake, he's an evangelist of the Methodist Church. Please, with a round of applause, I welcome Professor Francis Nunu. And we'll have a few remarks from him.
Good morning to everyone. Want to acknowledge the presence of the ambassador from Norway, the chief director from the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, the technical advisor of the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, and then I can see quite a number of academicians here, friends, ladies and gentlemen, media. Good morning to all. Yeah, you are all welcome to today's event, an event that we launching the Aquaculture Ghana under the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana, and want to foster stakeholder collaboration within the aquaculture sector. The aquaculture sector has many stakeholders, those who do the feed, academicians who do the research, those who do the marketing and all, and we need to move along together to help grow aquaculture in Ghana and beyond. Currently, aquaculture is contributing 14% to our national fish production, and we want to increase that number. And there's so much scope to do that if we all work together. If we all work together, it is going to help to provide the food security, the nutrition security. It's also going to help to provide jobs. In fact, if we do it well, so many people can get jobs in this country, especially the people of northern Ghana. We have all the rivers, the black water, the white water, and there's so much scope for us. Now water is being spilled from the Bagri Dam down to Ghana, and all this water can be trapped and put into good use to grow fish, so that something to what? Reduce the price of fish for the ordinary man. Else the ordinary man will not get enough fish. But don't worry about the big ones. There are the small ones that you can also enjoy. The small ones, freshwater fish you can enjoy, and others that we can grow ourselves. We've grown enough tilapia. We've grown enough catfish. We can look out for other species like the mallets and others that we can also grow. So this morning, I'm here in full support of this event, in full support of aquaculture and the growth of aquaculture. And together, not me alone, all of us together can work to ensure that aquaculture grows beyond the borders of Ghana and serves its purpose in the nation. I want to thank the organizers so much for giving me the honor to chair, and I accept and hand over the mic to the MC to steer affairs whilst I support her to guide the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nunu. Brief address from Dr. Enim Somwa. But before he comes up, I'd like to give you a brief profile of Dr. Somwa. He is the current managing director of Agromite Limited and the chairman of the Executive Council of the Aquaculture of the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana. And prior to establishing Agromite, he was a lecturer at the University of Ghana, Department of Agriculture. He has provided effective client relationship management by assessing buyer issues, providing feedback, developing and implementing strategies for resolving buyer issues. Dr. Somwa is very interested in aquaculture issues, and so he is a good person to be addressing this occasion. Shall we invite Dr. Enim Somwa?
Good morning. It's with great pleasure this morning that I would like to welcome all of us to this August lunch. Honorable Minister, Chairman of the Fisheries Commission, Chief Director, Ministry of Fisheries, a lot of academicians here, fish farmers, the other stakeholders in the aquaculture industry. The Aquaculture Ghana 2023 is going to be an event that will create a single platform that will bring all stakeholders in the sector together with one common mission for us to collaborate in promoting aquaculture in Ghana to help us address our nutritional needs, create employment. It's also going to be a showcase for us, especially those of us that are interested in investing in aquaculture, as well as those of us in research that have good innovation that Abdotep would be able to help, and most importantly, highlight the opportunities that aquaculture provide. This morning, with pleasure, I welcome all of you to this lunch. And it is with this opportunity given me that I would want to thank those that have made time to be here, especially the ministries, the staff from the ministry, the Norwegian ambassador, to contribute their lot to this occasion. Without much ado, I'll hand over the mic to the MC to run us through the rest of the program. Thank you, and you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Somwa. Now we have the Chief Executive Officer of Chamber of Aquaculture, Mr. Jacob Ajika, to tell us why we are here. This is supposed to be a launch for an event. So what is this event going to be about? Why should we be there? He's going to give us all that information. With a round of applause, please welcome Mr. Jacob Ajika.
Very good morning to you all. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I stand on all existing protocols. Exactly a year and a half ago, the Chamber of Aquaculture and its partners hosted the first hybrid conference for aquaculture conference for West Africa. This conference was largely described by participants as very successful. So after the conference, I decided to call some of the key speakers who came over to support us. So when I rang a particular key speaker, he said to me, Jacob, we need to talk about your industry. So we ended up having a very long conversation about the aquaculture industry. We had a lot of discussion about the challenges, the opportunities, and the actions that ought to be taken. So at the end of our conversation, he said to me, I need to ask you a question. And I replied, sir, can you go ahead? Then he said, how did you organize this conference within that short period? I smiled and I replied, sir, the secret is the power of collaboration and partnership. So this morning, I can see a lot of our key stakeholders here. It gives me a lot of hope. It tells me that through the power of collaboration and partnership once again, we will fulfill the objectives for this special event that the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana and its partners have created to promote the industry and to make it more sustainable. Mr. Chairman, one of the key recommendations from the first hybrid aquaculture conference held in the year 2021 was for the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana and its partners to create a special annual event that will bring all stakeholders together and promote Ghana's aquaculture sector to attract new investment. We carefully thought about this recommendation, and after several months of consultations with stakeholders, we have created this special event called Aquaculture Ghana. The goal of Aquaculture Ghana is to provide a common platform for all stakeholders to network, showcase innovations, and promote Ghana's aquaculture industry. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Ghana's aquaculture industry has witnessed significant growth in the past 2 decades. However, more work is needed to make the industry more sustainable. So the objectives of Aquaculture Ghana are as follows. 1, to allow stakeholders to interact and share new ideas about the aquaculture industry. 2, promote businesses and services in the aquaculture value chain. 3, enable stakeholders to display the latest innovative technology for the aquaculture industry. And lastly, recognize those making a difference in Ghana's aquaculture industry. Mr. Chairman, the aquaculture industry consists of diverse stakeholders, namely industry stakeholders, government stakeholders, and non-governmental stakeholders. These stakeholders have various aims for the aquaculture industry. Over the past years, these stakeholders have recognized the need to deepen collaboration among themselves to make Ghana's aquaculture industry environmentally sustainable and profitable for investors. As such, the theme for Aquaculture Ghana, scheduled for 26th to 27th April 2023 in Accra, is fostering stakeholder collaboration for sustainable aquaculture industry. Visitors to the event will include fish farmers, feed producers, academia, hatchery managers, quality teams, fish health professionals, farm technicians, environmental and water experts, sales and logistics teams, donor agencies, regulators, just to mention a few. Mr. Chairman, Aquaculture Ghana will have 3 segments, which are conference, exhibition, and awards. The conference aspect of Aquaculture Ghana will bring all aquaculture stakeholders together to interact and share new ideas on how to push Ghana's aquaculture industry to the next level. It is not uncommon to hear comments from other stakeholders complaining about not having the opportunity to espouse their views about some of the pertinent challenges confronting the aquaculture industry or promoting opportunities prevailing in the aquaculture industry. Therefore, the conference will also provide a brilliant opportunity to stakeholders to network, share ideas about the future of Ghana's aquaculture industry. Experts, regulators, industry players, investors, donors will have the opportunity to engage each other on challenges and opportunities in the aquaculture industry. So indeed, most of us are aware that our colleagues at the academia or researchers have done a lot of work about our industry. This is a brilliant platform for them to showcase what they have done for us as industry players. Ladies and gentlemen, the second component of Aquaculture Ghana is the exhibition. The essence of the exhibition includes 1, enable stakeholders to display the latest innovative technology and products for the aquaculture industry. During the exhibition, exhibitors and visitors alike can participate in various social events. So the exhibition is another brilliant opportunity for us to network with other industry players who will be participating in the exhibition. The exhibition would also unveil the innovative technologies available for aquaculture industry. So for industry players looking for innovative solutions, if you're looking for the latest technology for the aquaculture industry, Aquaculture Ghana 2023 exhibition is the place for you to be. Thirdly, the third component of Aquaculture Ghana is the awards. Ghana's aquaculture industry has transformed from small beginning to a significant industry in the past years. Many individuals, companies, institutions, agencies, authorities have worked hard to bring it to this level. The awards component will recognize those making a difference or have made a difference in Ghana's aquaculture industry. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, many individuals in the aquaculture industry are contributing immensely to the sustainability of the industry. Yet, their efforts are not noticed. These are the people we call unsung heroes. The award component of Aquaculture Ghana event will identify and recognize the efforts of the unsung heroes in the aquaculture industry. And of course, the pioneers of the industry. We are all aware about how the industry started and those who commercialized it from the year 2000. This event will recognize their efforts. Mr. Chairman, our expectation at the end of the two-day event are as follows. Showcase and attract investors into the aquaculture sector, deepen collaboration among the stakeholders, appreciate institutions, companies, individuals making a difference in the aquaculture sector. And finally, highlight the opportunities and sustainable actions needed for the aquaculture industry. Distinguished stakeholders gathered here today, Aquaculture Ghana belongs to you. Own it. Participate in the various events created to promote our aquaculture industry, to attract new investment, and ultimately promote it to make it a success. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Now, I think you'll agree with me that when we mention aquaculture and fisheries in Ghana, Norway plays a significant role. Norway is always available to help when needed. In our presence today is Norway. The ambassador, Royal Norwegian Embassy in Accra, accredited to Sierra Leone, and ambassador designate to Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Senegal, Guinea, and the Gambia. She was senior advisor for the Middle East and North Africa, and her first African country was Zimbabwe. And finally, she's here with us. With a round of applause, please help me welcome Her Excellency Ingrid Mollestad, Ambassador to Norway.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes. Good morning, Honorable Minister and representatives of the Ministry, Chairman of the Fisheries Commission, and also Chairman of the Chamber of Aquaculture, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, everybody that has a passion for fish and aquaculture like me. It's a pleasure to be here and to see you here today. I'm very happy to have received this invitation, and I'm also very happy for the kind introduction that you see Norway as a partner that is willing to help and assist in a sector that has been so crucial to our own development. But before coming a little bit more to that, I would just say, of course, that the aquaculture sector in Norway and in Ghana are, of course, different in many respects, but not least because of our sector is intrinsically linked to the health of our oceans, as our aquaculture is mainly something that is going on in the ocean and in our fjords. And myself, being born on the western coast of Norway, could see that industry in its very native moments in the 70s, as the cages started popping up and the fish farming and the salmon industry started having an impact. And I remember some of the adventurous spirits and investors in Norway that started in this industry and left their traditional businesses. People say you are crazy, but I can tell you they are laughing now all the way to the bank, as this is a huge industry. So I would like to encourage you all to see the potential in this fantastic industry. But I need to say something a little bit also about the oceans, because when you talk about seafood, talk about food security, that is such, of course, particularly today in the circumstances we are in, of such importance globally. I need to say something about the health of the oceans and the close cooperation between Norway and Ghana also here. President Akufo-Addo and our own Prime Ministers are one of a few members of the high-level panel for the sustainable ocean economy that was launched in 2018. And I think this demonstrates the high importance that both Ghana and Norway attach to the ocean, to managing the ocean resources, to managing fisheries, and also to a healthy and sustainable aquaculture. Indeed, if we do act the right way, ocean and marine resources will provide a solution, or part of a solution, a big part, hopefully, to some of the world's most pressing challenges, including climate change, energy production, livelihoods, and food security, as I mentioned. The Ocean Panel, where the President and our Prime Minister are members, also points to aquaculture as key in the transition to a healthy and sustainable global food system. Improving fisheries and aquacultural management is crucial that also future generations continue to benefit from ocean resources, lake resources, and healthy ecosystems. And it is also, of course, obvious that food security is not only about the quantity of food, as sometimes is our focus, but also that the food that is produced is sustainable, that it's safe, nutritious, and hopefully also tastes good. Seafood in general has a lower climate footprint compared to other production of animal protein. Still, more can be done, and it is important that we keep our eyes on the main challenges and radically change today's food systems and find climate-friendly, sustainable ways of producing food. I could have talked at length about the different fora in which Norway and Ghana cooperate when it comes to the oceans, but I would like to highlight what has been alluded to earlier, which is the very important, I think it's a flagship cooperation program between Norway and Ghana, the Fish for Development program. The overall goal of our program here is to contribute to better manage and regulate marine fisheries and the aquaculture industry. Through science-based management practices, both sectors can bring long-term and sustainable socioeconomic benefits to Ghana, as certainly the sectors have done it for Norway. And I think and I hope that this program does contribute in sharing knowledge, sharing experiences that we have in Norway that will benefit Ghana. As I said earlier, Norwegian fish farming started in the 70s, when we bred the first ever ocean-farmed Norwegian salmon in floating sea cages. Today, salmon and other species, and this is alluding to something that you said earlier, that don't stay with tilapia and catfish only, be creative and adventurous, look for opportunities, because this is what happened in Norway. It started with salmon, and now there are plenty of species that are being farmed along the coast. And this didn't come overnight. This is research multi-stakeholder cooperation, engagement between the industry and partners that has made this, in a way, adventure happen. So with increased production and good financial results, employment has also been growing steadily. So I can safely say that the entire long Norwegian coastline that you might know from, maybe you've been there, maybe you've seen it on the maps, but this is sustaining our coastal population to a very large extent. And I understand also that Ghana, as was said earlier, the industry is in a riveting development, and I understand that the Aquaculture for Food and Job plan that is now being implemented, that is the vision and plan for Ghana, has also this in mind: provide employment, provide jobs, provide food. I couldn't, you might know this, but the seafood sector in Norway is our most important export industry after oil and gas. And Norwegian fish is exported to more than 100 countries. We are actually now the second biggest world exporter of seafood after only China. And I think that without being too overconfident or bragging, Norway has a population of 5.5 million people, and you know China, so to be the second on that list is, I think, quite an exploit. So there is a lot of things that have happened in this industry since the 1970s, and I won't bore you with any details now, but we will be willing to share experience, technical or other, with any that would be interested, and this is what we are trying to do through the Fish for Development program. But I think I would mention a game changer was digitalization. There I can see the minister coming, and would like to greet our Honourable Minister. Lovely to see you. So as I said, digitalization was indeed a game changer for the industry in my country. I understand the industrial context in Ghana and in other countries is a different one. We are convinced that technology and experience and knowledge developed in Norway can play an important role also in transforming the seafood sector here. I think I've been speaking long enough. I was planning to say a little bit about a new aquaculture strategy that was launched in Norway. But I think the important thing is to say that it is a plan that has a 10 to 15 year perspective to it, just that to illustrate that this is seen as part of a core part of Norwegian economic development in the long time to come. And that right now, I think that we could say that the overarching ambition is to have viable local communities along the entire coast. So the strategy is seen really in close relation in how we want our coastline to look like. And also how we can adapt our current licensing system that has become very complex and too complicated for a lot of actors. We are trying to simplify this. So in Ghana, unlike in Norway, aquaculture is an inland industry. And also at home in Norway now, there is considerable interest for developing inland aquaculture. I think the framework conditions, what we are working on right now is much of what I think you're working on in Ghana, is to strengthen biosecurity, environmental measures, and again, fish welfare and fish health will have the highest priority. Per capita fish consumption in Ghana is one of the highest in Africa, and demand for fish exceeds domestic production. I know that because I know that you also buy fish from Norway, incidentally. But I don't think that's a goal in itself. I think producing more, being more, developing an already strong sector should be aim number one for you. And in the challenges that you're facing, I would like to just ensure you that we would continue to be a partner and support Ghana in the sustainable development of this sector. And we are already now, as you know, supporting, for example, biosafety measures is one of the main areas where we think that we have something to bring out of our own experience to Ghana. So we are also very pleased to welcome the Deputy Minister for Fisheries, Mr. Moses Anim, to Norway in this fall in the context for the Fish for Development program, and hope that he will also be able to bring home some experiences from Norway there. By way of conclusion, I know I have been a bit long. This is a subject close to my heart, obviously. I would like to highlight that I do believe there is a potential for strengthened commercial partnerships between Ghanaian and Norwegian companies in the aquaculture sector. Given the importance of the sector for both countries, I think we should together aim at giving aquaculture increased attention when we are talking about forging new and improved business relationships between Ghana and Norway going forward. Again, a key to our success has been an adventurous entrepreneurial spirit with multi-stakeholder engagement, science-based, and these are experiences that we are more than willing to share with you. So with these few words, I wish you a formidable success with this important event, and I look forward to seeing the conclusions and to listening to more of you during today's program. Thank you very much.
Now, our next speaker is Mr. Seth Akwaba. He was appointed CEO of AGI, that is Association of Ghana Industries, in 2011, and coordinates the activities of 22 business sectors under AGI. He was previously the coordinator of INENT program, a Dutch government initiative to support migrant entrepreneurs in the Netherlands set up businesses in Ghana. He later rose to the head of AGI Business Development and Services Division as director. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics, Geography, and Resource Development, as well as an MBA from the University of Ghana. He currently chairs the Policy Committee of the Made in Ghana Campaign Committee of Ghana. Please help me welcome Mr. Seth Akwaba.
Thank you very much, Prof. The Chairman of the occasion, Honorable Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, the Board Chair of Fisheries Commission, Your Excellency, the Ambassador Ingrid of Norwegian Embassy, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a pleasure that I also join you today to have this program. I know the Chamber has been knocking at the doors of AGI for some time now to collaborate with them and organize events of this nature. For us, collaboration is key in everything we do, and therefore we welcome such invitations and always prepared to work with you to achieve the objective that we've all set for ourselves. Let me also commend the Chamber who conceived this idea, and not only conceived it, but has worked hard to gradually bring it to fruition, to the extent that today we are launching such a big event. And I know when the event itself takes place, we'll all be active supporters and make sure it works and works well. In the past 20 years, aquaculture in Ghana has grown from small beginnings to significant primary industry, producing some of the world's most farmed fishes such as Nile tilapia and African catfish. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Fisheries Commission estimates Ghana's annual requirement of fish at 1.242917 million. That's 1.2,429,000 and so on. Out of this total, Ghana produces 471,794, and that's just about 38% of total fish requirements. Clearly, we have a long gap between our production levels and what we are actually consuming. It means the rest is being satisfied by imports, and therefore it leaves us a huge opportunity to take advantage of in terms of production. The Food and Agriculture Organization projects that Aquatic animal production will increase by 14% by the year 2030 globally. And I think Ghana's aquatic industry should make deliberate efforts to increase its quantity of farm fish so that we can also actively participate in that global trend. So, ladies and gentlemen, if Ghana has one of the best ecosystems for aquatic animal production, as we are told, and has ready market for farmed fish, then the question is, what are you waiting for? It's an opportunity that we should quickly grab and take full advantage of it. It is therefore our strong position that we take giant step as a country towards more aspiring future where aquaculture production can be more environmentally sustainable. As an industry that is emerging, the growth of aquaculture industry will support greater prosperity for our economy, create more jobs for our young people, women, and everybody, and there's huge scope to add value. Indeed, as someone coming from industry and as strong advocates for made in Ghana, we can now attest to the fact that imports is not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way to grow our economy. From our perspective, the need to increase local production in all aspects, including fish, is very important. And fish production locally is therefore just one aspect of the broader policy discourse on developing local production capacity across all sectors of the Ghanaian economy. We all remember that COVID-19 taught us a very big lesson, and today the Russian-Ukraine war precipitates the need for us to quickly develop local production capacity, especially for goods that are of essential nature to us. I remember during the COVID period, when the lockdown happened, at some point we all got frightened because even our local producers were asking, are we going to get our supplies in? It means that even for those that are producing, we are highly dependent on the raw materials from abroad. So if you are not producing enough, and even the production itself is so relying on raw materials from abroad, it got to a point we got scared that if this lockdown should continue across the world and for a long time, are we going to survive? So clearly, we can't be a country which is highly dependent on imports for everything. And today, if you go to our shops, you see for yourselves, a lot of the products we consume in this country is imported. Indeed, the war and the COVID-19 has created such a huge disruptions in the supply chain, and some have still not fully recovered. Today, our currency is suffering largely because of this same problem, because we import virtually everything, and the slightest shake in the world economy, we feel it here, and it affects our plans and everything we do. Our job creation prospects will continue to diminish if you continue with the kind of unbridled imports that we see today. If you are not producing enough and you are not competitive enough, what do you have for the trading? It's not a service that is going to drive the CFTA. It's the goods we produce. And therefore, we have a responsibility to produce local goods and produce them at a very competitive prices and the quality we want so that we are part of the global trade, especially the CFTA. We shouldn't be so vulnerable to external shocks because we are not producing enough. According to the Fisheries Commission, the total number of fish farms operating in Ghana's aquaculture, has actually increased over the years. We now have about 6 large farms, 14 medium farms, and 2,300 small-scale farms. Clearly, it is a good start, but we have a long way to go. It is therefore important that the government introduces deliberate policies that would elevate most of these our medium and small-scale farmers to large-scale entities who also produce to help meet our fish requirements. Mr. Chairman, the establishment of Aquaculture Development Fund has been proposed by the Chamber for some time now. And indeed, sitting in AGI, I know funding has always been one of the biggest challenges of most industries, especially the medium to long-term funding. Scaling up businesses to levels where you can enjoy economies of scale really requires that you actually need medium to long-term funding. And therefore, this call, it's something that we support, and indeed will encourage the Ministry of Fisheries, the Norwegian ambassador and embassy, and all stakeholders to help support this call and establish such a fund to help our aquaculture development. Mr. Chairman, I would like to add that we need to have persistent policy that is consistent with our development agenda. Whilst we are working hard to promote aquaculture, we shouldn't bring policies that runs counter to the very objective that we have. We know we import fish, and we are encouraging local production. So if we introduced policies such as reduction in benchmark values and make the imports cheaper, we know the effect we're going to have on our local production. Countries such as Egypt, Ivory Coast, and recently Nigeria are investing huge sums of money in breeding programs and in encouraging aquaculture in their countries. We cannot be left behind because these countries are also part of the CFTA. They'll be exporting very heavily to our country and then take our markets away. I sit in AGI and I know the number of delegations that are coming from various parts of Africa on a regular basis. They are all exploring opportunities. We are also doing the same, but some are ahead of us. If we don't work hard in all fields and actually put in the kind of effort that we're talking about, we'll be left behind. And one area that I believe we can also make very good impact on the continental free trade is the aquaculture industry. So we should work hard at this, and I believe we can all make progress together. So once again, we commend the Chamber for this effort they are making and seeking collaboration with us. As an association, we continue to work with you, and I believe that together we can build a very strong aquaculture industry which will employ the people we need. Finally, Mr. Chairman, let me reiterate that I believe the industry has a huge potential to produce enough farm fish to augment the marine and inland fisheries that is fastly depleting. We have an obligation to protect the aquaculture industry for the next generation by ensuring that the production is also sustainable. And together, we shall build Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kova. Our next speaker is the Principal Research Scientist and Head of the Fishery and Aquaculture Division of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Water Research Institute. She is a member of the Governing Board of the Fisheries Commission of Ghana and co-opted member of the Advisory Council of the African Fisheries Reform Mechanism of African Union. She was also a member of the Aquaculture Technical Working Group of the Africa Union Inter-Africa Bureau for Animal Resources Project, conducted between 2014 and 2020. Prior to heading FAD, she was head of the Department of Fisheries, Science and Aquaculture at the CSIR College of Science and Technology, which is affiliated to the University of Cape Coast. She has vast experience in sustainable aquaculture development, environmental monitoring and management, ecological studies, and water resource management. Please help me welcome Dr. Mrs. Ruby Asma.
Thank you very much. And I'm here to read a statement on behalf of academia. The Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, the Chairman of the Board of Fisheries Commission, the Norwegian Ambassador to Ghana, the Chairman of the Ghana Association of Industries, And I would say, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Greetings from research and academia. And I want to thank you for the privilege and opportunity to participate in this program. And this is a maiden launch. And I'm very excited about this because I'm part of the International Aquaculture Association, and you see a lot of countries having such programs, and I've always wondered when we'll have it here. So it's very exciting to see we finally having Aquaculture Ghana. Please permit me to thank the organizers, the Chamber of Aquaculture and its partners, and there are a number of the partners, the Ministries of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Association of Ghana Industries, the Ghana Aquaculture Association, the Catfish Farmers Association, the universities. We have the University of Ghana, the UNER in Sunyani, we have KNUST, and then we have the CSIR and many other private sector partners. Now, the Food and Agriculture Organization projects that the total aquatic animal food production would reach 200 million tons by 2030. Currently, when you look at the statistics, fish production from aquaculture is almost the same quantity as fish production from capture fisheries. It's nearly 50-50, so aquaculture has made good progress. In Ghana, the revised Ghana National Aquaculture Development Plan projects commercial output of farmed fish to reach about 130,000 tons. And that requires that all of us contribute our quota in various ways. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, over the last decade, aquaculture has steadily gained traction in Ghana through continual efforts led by the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, through donor agencies, through academia, research organizations, and the private sector to improve aquaculture and enhance farmed fish production. The sector has immense potential in ensuring that Ghana is food secure. We have the whole lake to ourselves, and estimates, if we estimate production from the lake alone, that should be enough to take care of the deficit that we have in fish production. Now, when we promote aquaculture, we are going to create jobs which will reduce unemployment, it will generate incomes, it will contribute to poverty eradication, and also provide foreign exchange, and so on. In this regard, it's important that all stakeholders effectively contribute their quota to harness these potentials. For instance, the ministry provides the policy directions. Currently, they are revising the Ghana National Aquaculture Development Plan. There was a validation meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure the final version may be coming out very soon. And then in terms of academia and research, we need to gear our research towards making sustainable development and then improving our strains. I think one of the challenges we've had of late is the growth rate of the fish that we have. And a lot of efforts are needed to make sure we have the right strains that would grow at the pace that the farmers are seeking to achieve. So in relation to that, I want to say that the WRI or the CSIR highly commends the Chamber of Aquaculture and its partners for this proactive effort and making that aquaculture industry in Ghana becomes very sustainable. The CSIR is ensuring its full support for this soon-to-be annual event, and we encourage all stakeholders to fully participate in this annual event. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the aquaculture sector will create a common platform for all industry players to share ideas that propel Ghana's aquaculture industry to the next level. Thank you very much.
Located at the center of the world, Ghana is the best investment destination in West Africa and ranks as West Africa's first in the Ease of Doing Business Report 2019. It was projected as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with a growth rate of 6.8% in 2019, and has been declared as Africa's new bright spot after being ranked 4th in the world and 1st in Africa in the 2019 Global Retail Development Index. As the host of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Ghana is creating the linkages that will make it the gateway to Africa, aided by dynamic policies, a stable political environment, and strong economic fundamentals. It is a land of opportunities, offering businesses across many sectors the potential to flourish. The country is open and accessible to investors and the private sector, providing a peaceful environment and upholding the rule of law. The government of Ghana is confident and optimistic about the positive results in its investment drive through the GIPC. Ghana has 8 million hectares of arable land, well irrigated by a wide network of water bodies, making it a region ready for large-scale mechanized agriculture. The government and major policy planners recognize that expanding the agro-industrial base is the best path to develop. Ghana has put in place the right legal and regulatory framework to increase foreign direct investment. The Industrial Zones Program allows manufacturers and agro-processors to take advantage of favorable tax and duty incentives to produce for exports from Ghana into the EU and US markets. A rich cultural history and wonderful natural beauty makes Ghana a great tourist destination. The Year of Return Tourism and Marketing campaign in 2019 positioned Ghana as a key travel and investment destination for African Americans and people of the global diaspora. The year recorded significant increases in the number of visitors to Ghana. Ghana's growing consumer market is providing compelling reasons for investing in the services sector. The retail sector has been valued at $24.4 billion. A growing middle class with increasing purchasing power is creating demand for a wider variety of sophisticated services in healthcare, finance, and education. In the region, Ghana has one of the highest mobile penetration rates at 140%, with data penetration at 89%. The country has a thriving startup scene, helped by access to broadband internet that runs on fiber optic and 4G networks. The fintech industry is worth over $50 billion. Ghana is an English-speaking nation located in the center of the geographical world, with flight times from Europe or America averaging about 8 hours. Transportation networks in and out of the country have received enhancements in order to aid the ease of doing business. It has a new international airport terminal and an expanded port infrastructure. Tema Port is one of the largest in Africa, with a capacity to handle 3.5 million TEUs. The expansion in the economy is largely due to oil and gas development. Other sustainable sources of power, like solar, wind, and thermal, will significantly increase the country's energy resources. We invite you to share in Ghana's optimism, be part of the incredible opportunities we offer, and be open to the idea to grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana.
Honorable Howard Kinsey, Mrs. Howard Kinsey is the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development.
In 2012. She has over 21 years of experience as a professional teacher from 1991 until her election as Member of Parliament in 2012. As a teacher, she rose through the ranks of Assistant Superintendent to Principal Superintendent in 2011 and ultimately became the head teacher of several schools. She was appointed Minister for Special Development Initiatives in the year 2017, following the assumption of the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a position she diligently held until January 2021, when the ministry was realigned and reassigned to the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development. As the Minister for Special Development Initiatives and a cabinet member, She led the actualization of the vision of the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, spearheading the implementation of the novel Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program, IPEP, aimed at eradicating poverty through the provision of basic infrastructure at the constituency level, mostly rural and deprived communities. Key achievements under the program include the initiation of over 8,000 varied projects across the country, clinics, markets, warehouses, water systems, water closets, culverts, road reshaping, police stations. The list is endless. Under her leadership, the ministry facilitated the procurement and distribution of 307 ambulances and 10,000 hospital beds to help improve the emergency healthcare system and reduce the no-bed syndrome in the country. Upon assumption of office as the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development in 2021, her focus has been to ensure the protection and conservation of Ghana's fisheries resources in a sustainable manner, whilst developing the aquaculture industry to augment domestic fish production and create additional jobs along the value chain. This is to be achieved through the following: fisheries and aquaculture development infrastructure development, automation of premixed fuel distribution to curb the incidence of diversion and hoarding, intensified fight against illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing practices, implementation of conservation and stock recovery strategies, example, the close season for all fleets, provision of fishing and aquaculture inputs to fishermen, fish processors, and fish farmers to enhance their operations, improving fisheries legal and policy frameworks, deepened collaboration with stakeholders. Honorable Mrs. Hawa-Kumsin has over 21 years proven her worth locally and internationally through her active participation in various seminars and workshops, and her engagement in professional organizations with regard to education and public service. She serves on various parliamentary select committees, including the Select Committee for Lands and Natural Resources, Business Committee, and Committee for African Parliamentary Union. Mrs. Kumsin is a dedicated Christian and a family woman, married with 3 children. Help me welcome the Honourable Member of Parliament and Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Honourable Mrs. Hawa-Kumsin.
Thank you. Please be seated. Madam MC, I didn't know you were going to give me all this. I was prepared for it. Thank you so much. The chairman for this occasion, who also doubles up as the chairman for Fisheries Commission Board, the Norwegian ambassador to Ghana, Her Excellency Ingrid, the CEO of Association of Ghana Industries, Mr. Seth Akwabwa, the chairman of Aquaculture Ghana Executive Council, Dr. Enim Somwa, the Chief Director for the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to join these key stakeholders for the launch of the Made in Aquaculture Forum under the theme Fostering Stakeholder Collaboration for Sustainable Aquaculture Industry. The outcome of the Sustainable Development Impact Summit of the World Economic Forum revealed that aquaculture is currently the fastest growing food industry, accounting for over 50% of the total seafood supply globally. As regulators, we are of the view that sustainable aquaculture growth is key to easing pressure on the wild fish stocks, which are under stress because of overfishing globally. The industry, like its counterparts, is therefore challenged with the responsibility of feeding a rapidly growing population. Ladies and gentlemen, aquaculture presents viable options to complement production from the marine and inland waters to meet increasing demand for fish. It is envisaged that with a production figure of 64,000 metric tons in 2020 will rise to 132,710 metric tons in 2026. The shortfall presents numerous opportunities for new entrants and existing aquaculture operators to expand operations or diversify into other areas along the aquaculture value chain. Developing the aquaculture industry for what it seeks to achieve should aim to strengthen, tide, and support the active participation of private operators to remain productive for the sustainable development of the sector. As regulators, we remain resolute to create a conducive environment to improve the state of fisheries and aquaculture through ongoing regulatory reforms to sanitize the industry to enable it contribute more meaningful to the aquaculture sector. Notable include the ministry has revised the National Fisheries Aquaculture Policy to provide strategic direction for the sustainable management of fisheries and development of aquaculture in Ghana. 2. The Ministry of Finance engaged on financing for the Aquaculture for Food and Jobs program at the national level. A working team is currently carrying out the feasibility study for further attention by the Ministry of Finance. Exploring partnership with international development partners to support aquaculture development. Currently, the GIZ is supporting beneficiary growth under the implementation of the aquapreneurship project in the Western region. Beneficiaries of the Aquaculture for Food and Jobs program, such as youth growth, distressed farmers, educational and security institutions, were supported with 15,000 bags of locally produced fish feed and fish fingerlings. Public hatcheries at Sefioso, Domahinkro have been upgraded to produce viable fish fingerlings to supply operators. The revised Ghana National Aquaculture Development Plan for 2022 to 2026 captures a number of interventions to mitigate emerging issues to create a conducive environment to promote aquaculture development. We continue to engage stakeholders to focus and explore, among others, the following: cost-effective and sustainable fish feed option to ease production costs to remain productive. Fish hatcheries to produce genetically improved fish stock. Avenues to attract investments in small-scale operations and supply chain. well-established integrated market for operators to access consumers. Networking and collaborating with diverse supply chain actors could pave the way to build the capacity of operators to resourcefully overcome challenges relating to production. Marketing and management in the sector to remain competitive and profitable for stakeholders to network and promote the aquaculture sector. As a consumer of fish, being informed on the source of what is on the plate and buying accordingly can make a lot of difference. Eating from sustainable sources gives the assurance that fish is raised under certified standards and harvested in a sustainable manner, which does not cause overfishing or damage to our ecosystem. Again, I wish to draw your attention to the job opportunities in the aquaculture subsector. The ministry envisages to employ about 200,000 people over a 5-year period under the Aquaculture for Food and Jobs program. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to take this opportunity to inform you that the ministry will organize a fish festival in November 2022. This will promote fisheries in our country. Government is confident with the industry growing and evolving. The goal of feeding the nation with fish in a sustainable manner is certainly attainable. On this note, I duly declare the event officially launched. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Now, I would welcome a closing remarks from the chairman, and then thereafter, we'll take some pictures.
Let's give her a clap. I'll just make a few comments and just to reiterate some of the key points that have been made here. Brother Jacob talked about the power of collaboration and partnership. And I remember 1.5 years ago, quite a number of us were there, all of us were there at Legon, and we collaborated and we worked on it. And we've been meeting over this event. And we're looking forward to the 2023 events. So he outlined some of the things that is going to happen, the exhibitions, conferences, etc. I would have loved him to talk about some timelines for some of these events so that we know that, oh, February we are having this, March we are having this, etc. So he will soon, the chamber will soon supply that to us for us to prepare ourselves for that. The role of MOFAD in aquaculture development has been outlined by the minister. In our normal balance in Ghana, when the big lady of the big man speaks, we don't talk plenty. We don't talk plenty, but I have this singular honor to be able to speak after her, to speak after my boss. Yes, so we here all endorse Aquaculture Ghana. Can we clap to that? We all endorse Aquaculture Ghana. And then what it is doing to help bring aquaculture to prominence. We want to ask that between now and the launch, when the activities are outlined, we all continue to patronize and participate. We also want to encourage corporate Ghana to support aquaculture. People should invest into aquaculture. We talk to people and they've had 1 or 2 experiences here and there. Maybe they didn't do something right. Consult the ministry and consult the Fisheries Commission and other fish farmers with the right practices. Don't go to those without the correct practices, else your money will go down. So consult the Fisheries Commission, consult MOFAD, and the farmers with the right practices, and then you will have your money's worth. You will have the money that you would like to get. So far, I was happy when the Norwegian embassy, the Royal Norwegian ambassador talked about her readiness, the readiness of Norway to share their experiences with us, both technically and knowledge-wise, to share their experience with us, so that we can at least aspire to reach to the levels they have reached. We need to place Ghana to a level where we also become one of the largest fish exporting countries, instead of what? Importing countries. So Ghana is interested in harnessing the mariculture technology from Norway to Ghana. And we're going to work at that. We want to also have enough fish to be able to take advantage of the ACFTA, so that at least Ghana can keep on exporting and make more money. I recently visited some fish farms when I was doing some consultancy, and some issues came up which have not been brought to fore here. But once we talk about the positives, we need to be aware of one or two of the negatives. One thing we should take care of is the governance and the employment system of the fish farmers and the hands that work on the fish farms. Some people are being maltreated. Some people are having pay salaries that do not take them home. This is happening on farms in Ghana. And as a government and as MOFAD, on behalf of the minister, it's an area we should look at, so that we can have an aquaculture, employment and governance policy, so people will not be maltreated on the farms. I didn't see GIPC here originally until I saw the video. When I saw the video, I said GIPC is here. Let's clap for them. They've done very well. The minister in her former ministry did one village, one dam. And there are so many dams across the country, especially in the northern parts. And we can put fish in these dams if it is not there already. And it's an area that we can help grow the aquaculture industry. So let's look at that. And we want to applaud the ministry for all the interventions for sustainable aquaculture. Let's support them and let's look out. This our minister is hardworking and is focused on delivering. On that note, I wish to commend the Chamber of Aquaculture for this, and let's all patronize and support Aquaculture Ghana. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. Madam MC.